All this is to say, the key here, the case that Dominion is trying to lay out, is that all of these messages, and there are many more, show Fox, from producers, on-air talent, to the heads of the company, knew that what was being said wasn't true. That's key. Fox, in a counterclaim, insists that it was just covering the news of the former president's allegations and that such coverage involved going directly to the newsmakers, i.e. Trump's attorneys and surrogates like Powell and Giuliani. Also says that the host's opinions on election fraud allegations are their opinions and thus protected speech. Fox argues the First Amendment protects its coverage of truthfully reporting allegations, and that in fact it had a duty to report a sitting president's claims of voter fraud. Let's be clear, this could be a game changer for Fox. More than $1 billion is at stake. Fox also alleges that the company has no evidence to back its $1.6 billion claim for damages, and that Dominion can't prove, they say, that it's been damaged at all. But most important, the legal standard for Dominion to win is a high bar, as it is when anyone tries to sue a media company. They have to prove more than just that the comments were false, but that Fox knew or should have known they were false. Joining me now, Floyd Abrams, the nation's preeminent First Amendment attorney, argued 13 First Amendment cases before the United States Supreme Court in defense of media companies. He also happens to be my father. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, so how strong a case do you think Dominion has here?
It's a strong case. It's a really strong case. I've been asking myself, what would I have done? I suppose I'd been asked. Put aside if I would have done it, but what would I be looking for as Fox's lawyers to defend the case? One thing I don't think I would have found is anyone at Fox prepared to support the truth of the accusations.
Right.
Right? So, you start behind that 8 ball.
So you say opinion, right? You say...
Oh, yes. You can say it's opinion. The problem here is the degree of repetition on Fox and the fact that they not only had people on, they had the same people on over and over and over again who were saying these things when Fox appears to have had a lot of information to the effect that, or at least they thought, that these very people, Rudy Giuliani, for example, were not to be trusted with respect to things like that.
Are they responsible legally for the comments of their guests?
I'd say in general, not. There are some situations, but in general, not. I think that Fox's situation here is that in its totality, the argument can be made, at least. In its totality, there was so much said of a defamatory and false nature about this company, about Dominion, over and over again by people that Fox's top people didn't believe or trust, that Fox itself becomes in the soup.
And why do you think Fox hasn't settled it? I mean, this was a lot of ugly stuff to come out regardless of whether they win or lose the lawsuit, right? You have to believe that Dominion wanted a number, right, that Fox was unwilling to settle for?
Yes, you have to believe that. Certainly any outside counsel coming in, would be looking around and saying, who's going to defend this? I mean, who here is going to say, tell me who my best witness is? And there'd be a silence for quite a bit of time. So, yeah, I mean, the ball game's not over. There is a First Amendment in this area, even as badly as Fox has performed. And certainly Fox is right to try in its defense to hang on to that and to say, yes, look, these were opinions. We had other opinions on. The president himself said these things. Therefore, that's more of a reason for us to chase it down. The big problem is they weren't chasing, and to a great degree, it appears, they weren't reporting. They were giving a platform to people who were lying.
And the woman who did fact check on Fox, because they'll point to her, right? They'll say, look, we had our own reporters who were fact checking it, saying it wasn't true.
Yeah. I mean, the trial, if there's a trial, is going to be a trial of Fox. Fox hold the totality of Fox's coverage. And yeah, I mean, as I said, the game's not over.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.